All right, this walkthrough video is to help you create the angle block in OnShape. So this starts out with some fairly complex sketching, and then it has this drill plate right here. It's a counter bored hole that's drilled into there, but it's at an angle. It's at a 45-degree angle, and it goes right up to the face. So it's a little bit more complex, or actually quite a bit more complex than we've done in the past. Now, these dimensions and everything for this are going to be in Canvas. If you go to the angle block drawing, oops, sorry, not drawing, that's next week. If you go to the angle block assignment right here, this has the sheet that has all the dimensions and everything. So I'm going to walk you through creating this so you can kind of just follow along. All right, the easiest way to start this is with the 4 circles. So if you can see, it kind of has this I shape with 4 circles. It's probably easiest if we start with the circles. And we can see that the holes themselves are 0.5 inch diameter, and the larger ones are 0.5 inch radius. That means that it's a 1 inch diameter. So offset by 2 inches and then 3 inches. So I'm going to start with those. So this is what it's going to look like. Let's go ahead and dig in. So we're going to create a new part studio. This one's going to be in our intermediate modeling folder. I'll just rename this angle block 2 because I've already built one, so it doesn't get confused. And I'm going to go ahead and sketch right here on this first plane. And we're going to start with our circle tools. So we have a 0.5 inch hole, and then we have the 1 inch for the corner. So if we go back here, we can see that the next one is 2 inches over. So I'm going to grab my line tool. We'll just create a line on the horizontal. We'll make it 2 inches. And then we're going to do another 2 circles. So this one's 0.5 and another one that's 1 inch. Okay, and then if we look at our next dimensions, we have another 2 that are down 3 inches. So we're going to go down 3 inches. Okay, and then we get another one. I can also use the shortcut key C if I want to create a circle. So we'll just do 0.5 and then 1. And then we come over 2 inches, or I can just press L for my line tool, and come over 2 inches. And this is going to be our last one. So we'll create another 0.5 inch circle, and then one final one for 1 inch. So now we have the circle, so now we have to start creating the line. So if you look at this, the top and bottom just have a straight line connecting them. So that's going to be pretty simple. So I'll just grab my line tool and make sure that when you're actually drawing this, that it snaps to the circle. So if you hover over it, it should be highlighted yellow. That means it's going to snap to the circle. And if we're right here, we can see that little dotted line. That means it's going to be on the tangent as well. That's what we want. So we'll do the same thing over here. We'll come over and we can see that this is my line right there. It's snapping to that tangent line and it's horizontal. So we'll go and click right there. And I'm just going to make sure this is tangent. So I'm going to get my tangent constraint. Click on the line, click on the circle, and it turned red just because it is tangent. So I'll just Control Z. That was just because I had the same constraint 2 times. All right, so let's go up and do the top. So I'm going to grab my line tool. Again, we'll lock on, make sure the circle's highlighted. That means it's snapping to it. We have our tangent point right there. So that one's good. So now we have those lines. So we need, at this moment, now we need this kind of inside. We have an arc, and then it kind of has a center line. Now we can see on the top left, this is 0.5 inches from the center of the circle to the line that's on there. So that's 0.5 inches. So here's how I'm going to do this next part. I'm going to get a line, and I'm going to draw this from the center of the circle over 0.5 inches. And then that gives me a line that I can just drop here. So I know that this is going to be that inside edge. I'm just going to draw it down there. We can always trim or add to it later if we need more. So I'll do another one, 0.5. And make sure it snaps to vertical. And I'm just going to take this down here. Doesn't matter exactly where you stop because we're going to be making this tangent. So, oops, or did I draw that the right way? Well, I'm sorry, that was supposed to be from the, nope, this one's good. All right, so this side's good right here. So I'm going to get my arc tool, and this is going to go from the circle to this line, and then I'm going to kind of just place it here. I'm not really worried about the size or the exact points, just make sure it snaps to the circle and the line. Then what I'm going to do is, again, get my tangent constraint, click on the line, click on the circle, that's tangent to the circle, and then we're going to do this again. Click on the arc, click on the line, and now it's tangent here. And then what I'm going to do is grab my dimension tool, and we'll make sure this is 0.5 inches radius. So there we go. That's how we do the arc. And we're just going to do that for the other four now. So now I'm going to get my arc here, my 3-point arc. We'll click on the circle, click on the line, just kind of give it its starting bend. Then we do our tangent, tangent, and then we'll dimension. So this one's tangent. This one's tangent, then we'll dimension it to 0.5. Then we do the same over here. So this is going to go from here to here. I'll drop it. Tangent, tangent, and then we dimension. So tangent, tangent, and dimension. This is going to be 0.5. Now we have one more to do. So we have our arc, snaps to the line, and just get it dropped into place. And we tangent, tangent, and dimension. So tangent to the line, tangent to the circle, and dimension it to 0.5 inches. There we go. So now we have all of our pieces here. I need to clean this up a little bit because we have all these extra lines and stuff everywhere. So let's grab the scissor tool. I'm going to get rid of everything except for those parts that we need. That's angry right there because I just deleted a line that was being used to dimension. That's okay. We don't need it anymore. So I'm just going to go through and clean up everything that I don't need. So I can get rid of these dimensions if that's kind of messing me up and I don't like it. So we'll just click on these and delete, delete, delete. And I'm just going to keep deleting all this stuff that we don't need. Don't worry about the red stuff as long as you have all of your lines. So I'm just going to keep deleting and trimming. And you can see as I trim off these line bits, those will go away. We just need to make sure that we keep the parts, the lines that we're actually going to need at the end. So I'm just getting rid of all of these. And then that looks pretty good. So we'll say OK. And there's my sketch. Oops, looks like I forgot to get rid of those two lines. That's OK. It should extrude anyway. Oops, actually, that might be a problem right there. You can always go back on a sketch. So if you ever need to go back, we just double click on the sketch. And I forgot to trim this. So let's trim this and this. Let's get rid of this line. And then we'll get rid of these lines. Oop, that makes it happy. There we go. So now we know this is an enclosed face because it's dark gray. If it were white, that would be because we have an error somewhere and we need to close it up. So when you actually have a closed face, it turns dark gray. Okay, it doesn't matter about that line. We won't have to worry about that, guys. So we're just going to extrude this. So if we look at the dimensions, the thickness from the bottom left is going to be 0.5. So I'll hit extrude, and we're going to extrude 0.5 inches. Just like so. Right now we have kind of the eye shape. So what we need to do now is create the kind of that 45-degree pop-out block. Now we've gone over offset planes, but an offset plane would kind of make this still 90 degrees and kind of parallel to our part and perpendicular on this face. That's not what we want. We want it to be 45 degrees. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use a new type of plane. It's called a line angle plane. So up here, going to click on plane. And we're going to change this from offset to line angle. And the one that we want, we're going to come here from the edge. Now, this is called an edge in modeling. This would be a point, edge, face. What we want to do is grab this edge. Okay, it's yellow. We'll click on that, and I want to make this 45 degrees. Now, if we click on this arrow, that'll flop it back and forth. We want to make sure that it looks like this. Okay, that's where it's going to be. So that's at a 45. We have our plane right there. So we can hit OK. And that's our line angle, 45 degrees. And that's the edge that we chose. So click right there. So now we're ready to actually do some sketching here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and sketch on this plane. Now, in order to actually have our view so we see this straight on, or what's called normal to it, we can right click on this. And I'm going to go to View Normal Sketch Plane, or View Normal to Sketch Plane. And that'll actually line it up so I'm looking straight at it. So let's go back here and look at the bottom right one so we can see that we have a 1 inch kind of circle, and it's 1 inch wide, we can see on the top left. So 1 inch by 1 inch, and it kind of has that circular part on the top. So, all right, here's how we're going to do that. I'm going to grab my line tool. We'll snap to the midpoint right here. We'll come over 0.5. I'm going to come up 0.5, come over 1, come down 0.5, and then we're going to come here and finish back up there. So we made a little box. It's red. It's angry because I accidentally hit this one 2 times, so I'll just delete this dimension right there. Okay, so we still have all of our lines. I just deleted that dimension. All right, then I'm going to get a circle. We'll snap from the midpoint right here. Then I'm going to snap to this edge, so it gives me a 1 inch circle. Then we'll trim off the bottom. Again, it's red because I was using those for dimensions. We'll get rid of those. Bloop. And that's what we want right there. So we can see now that we have this face. It's dark gray. That means it's an enclosed face that we can use for extruding. If yours is not dark gray, make sure that you created these 2 bottom lines here, okay, because we need those as well. So this needs to have all of these edges bounding it in. Once we have that, we're good to go. All right, so if we look at this, this needs to extrude into the face of the part that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude. We're going to extrude this guy. And if we look, you might have to flop the dimension where it starts. But the problem is it pokes right through the bottom. So that's not going to work. Now, we could change the depth and make it a little less deep. But unfortunately, then it doesn't go all the way up to it. So what we're going to do is we can either make this up to part or face. Let me show you how that works. So up to part, click that, and we click on our part. And it'll take it right up to the part. We could also do that with up to face. So up to face, and we want to go to this face, and it'll take it right there. Pretty much does the same exact thing. So we're going to extrude. Make sure you do up to face or up to part. Click on the blue face right there, and it should take it right up to there, and then it won't go through. So that's a solid part right there. All right, the last thing that we need is our counter bore hole that goes right through the center of that circle. All right, so this is going to be pretty simple. So we'll just do a sketch on this face. Let's make it normal to the sketch plane again. And I'm just going to grab a point, and I want to hover around till I get the midpoint right there. You can see that little midpoint kind of icon pops up, so we can place our point. We'll say OK. And from here, I'm just going to use the hole command, click on my point, and let's see, 0.25, 0.25, 0.375, 0.25. Those are the correct values. So there's my whole callout. I can see everything is good. You can just pause on this part of the screen right here so you can see what the settings are. We'll hit OK, and there we go. We have our angle block all done. All right, there you go.